Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad you are all here with us. This is Light from the Darkness, Yom HaShoah 2021, sponsored by Teach the Shoah. We are going to start with a benediction from Rabbi Shari Kohler Fox, the director of New Cage, an organization that has nurtured this from the beginning, and we are thrilled to have Shari here. Rabbi Kohler Fox, please get us started.
Thank you, Deborah. Compassionate God, we ask that each of us feel your presence today as we sit together to remember the suffering and the resilience of our brothers and sisters who perished in the Shoah. These things are too painful to remember, but we know we must bear witness. As Elie Wiesel said, in the face of suffering, no one has the right to turn away, not to see. Help us to see, to understand, to remember, and to teach the lessons of the Shoah. For the eternal memory of the murdered millions, be with us as we work toward a world in which such inhumanity has no place ever again. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Rabbi. We have been broken. Part of us will always be broken. We gather each precious shard and piece them together to create a new vessel that will hold our love and our pain. We find that we are somehow whole and broken at the same time. We discover glimmers of holiness in the cracks, for it is through these jagged windows that we see the paths to building a better world. There is more to a broken vessel than the hammer that shattered it. Read with me. Even when we are enveloped by evil, we hold on to our humanity and our faith. We emerge as a Jewish people, strengthened in our resolve to remain Jews. The thread of Jewish life was and still is strong. These mismatched candles remind us of the resilience that our ancestors have always shown in dark times. They made do with what they had. They never gave up their determination to hold on to their Judaism. We take inspiration from their resilience and from those who found the strength to stand when standing seemed impossible. We light these candles for the light that shines in the hearts of all who fight against evil. For a single candle can both defy and define the darkness. Gay?
Mikorot, origins. We begin our story in the light. We remember. Not so long ago, many of our mothers and our fathers, our sisters and our brothers lived in the land of Europe. We were Jews of many different sorts. We were religious and secular. We lived in cities and in small towns. We lived in many countries across the world. We spoke many different languages. We were doctors and dressmakers, printers and poets, scientists and shopkeepers, weavers and welders. We were a warm family whose life followed a quiet, carefree routine. Our roots reached back generation upon generation. living there amidst friends, neighbors, and acquaintances. With this loving background, the years flowed peacefully. Miriam Yahav, Holocaust survivor, Poland. As ancient hatred, unashamed, was emerging from the shadows. But we did not recognize the approaching danger. We thought the world was evolving beyond such ignorance.
This fragrant rosemary recalls for us the joys of an ordinary life. So if you have rosemary, take it now and smell it and say this with me. We remember the sweet, flavorful life we had before the darkness fell. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei minei basamim. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who creates many different spices. Raise your wine with me and say together, or juice, whatever you have. We drink the cup of wine in celebration of that ordinary life. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who creates the fruit of the vine. L'chaim, to life. Deb?
We begin our story in the light.
Next page.
Page, I'm sorry, didn't turn the right way. Sorry. Page 6. Troubles. We must be watchful. When we ignore the rising shadows of hatred, they engulf us. We remember. Hatred spread across Germany like poison in water. The Germans afflicted us with cruel laws and humiliations. They did not care who we were or what we did. They did not care whether we were religious or secular, from the city or from the country, civilian or soldier, only that we were Jews. The Psalms reflect our anguish. Every day they make my words sorrowful. All their thoughts about me are for evil. They gather and hide. They watch my steps. They hope to capture my soul. Psalms. Trouble begins not with a fanfare, but as storm clouds building in the distance. We remember. Every day they keep issuing new laws against Jews. Today, for example, they took all our appliances away from us. The sewing machine, the radio, the telephone, the vacuum cleaner, the electric fryer, my camera, and my bicycle. Augie said we should be happy they're taking things and not people. Eva Hyman, Holocaust victim, Romania. In the overcrowded ghettos, we lamented. I feel as if I am in a box. There is no air to breathe. Wherever you go, you encounter a gate that hems you in. I feel as if I have been robbed. My freedom is being robbed from me, my home, and the familiar streets I love so much. I have been cut off from all that is dear and precious to me. Yitzhak Rudashevsky, Holocaust victim, Lithuania.
These potato skins remind us that in the deprivation of the ghetto, we ate whatever we could find. The salt water in which we dip them recalls our tears. So if you have potato skins in salt water, dip them now. We dip, and say this with me, we dip to remember our starvation, evoking the salt of our tears and the hardships we endured. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri ha'adamah. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who creates the fruit of the earth.
No.
It didn't start
Okay.
yet. I don't hear anything.
We remember, even in the ghetto, we celebrated Shabbat. We found, however, that wine for Kiddush was often impossible to get. The rabbis ruled that sweet tea could be substituted. So if you have tea, raise it and drink with me and recite with me. We drink this tea in memory of the Kiddush wine we could not have. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nehiyeh bidvaro. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, by whose word everything comes into being. Violet?
We remember, holding on to the hope that we might one day be reunited, we sent our children into hiding. A few were sent to safety beyond the borders. Others found hiding places with friends, neighbors, and strangers. As Mommy and Omi waved to me, I chose to hide my tears and I smiled. I wanted to give them strength. This drawing represents our hope for our children and our faith in their future. Hope and faith may seem frail comfort, but they are still girders that give us the strength to stand. As we did in the time of trouble, we now conceal our hope in a secret place to keep it safe. May we find it again at the end of our journey. Hide our hope. Protect this picture until we once again are safe and we can reveal our hope and our faith to the world. Hide the drawing in a safe place from where it can be easily retrieved.
Hope can be a sweetness that lies beneath bitterness. Hope for our children's future, that we would see them again, that this horror would end. So if you found oranges or something equivalent, a fruit that has a bitter outer peel, take it now. We eat this orange, this fruit, whose bitter rind hides sweet fruit, to remember that sweet hope can hide beneath bitterness. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri ha'etz. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who creates the fruit of the tree. Mehek.
Words fail as we begin to speak of the darkest time. We remember the Germans, with willing partners, murdered us in staggering numbers. Mass graves filled the forests of Europe. My heart shudders within me, and the terrors of death have descended upon me. Fear and trembling penetrate me, and I am enveloped with horror. Psalm. We were murdered without mercy, mothers and fathers, children and grandparents. We were murdered simply for being Jews. The Germans forced us from our homes into ghettos, into slave labor camps, and into death chambers. In our blind ignorance, we thought that deportation was a better solution. Fools that we were, we thought that the ghetto was the ultimate in absolute blackness. We did not know that from here on, we would be severed and cut off from everything that was familiar and dear to us. We did not know that from that train ride on, we would be robbed of our whole world. Sarah Selver Urbach, Holocaust survivor, Poland.
We grieve as we remember the vibrant Jewish communities that were destroyed. Cry is heard in Ramah, wailing, bitter weeping. Rachel weeping for her children. She refuses to be comforted for her children who are gone. We spill drops of wine to remember the blood that was spilled, the whole communities that were destroyed. These losses diminish our lives as we diminish the wine in our glasses. Let these few represent for us the many. So as we go through this, I'm going to recite a name and you recite it with me or directly after me, and we're going to spill a drop of wine for each one. Warsaw,
Warsaw,
Vienna,
Vienna,
Salonika,
Salonika,
Riga,
Riga,
Kiev,
Kiev,
Sarajevo,
Sarajevo,
Chelm,
Chelm,
Kielce,
Kielce,
Wiesbaden,
Wiesbaden,
Prague.
Prague.
If you know the names of other communities, please share them in the chat. Violet.
We pause in terror before the human deed, the cloud of annihilation, the concentration of death, the cruelly casual way of each to each. But in this stillness of this hour, we find our way from darkness into light.
And I would like to read some extra names from the chat.
Let's spill our drops as we do that. Go ahead, Michael.
Zidilce, Lida, Sokokin, Gomel, Amsterdam, Pilsen, Raditz, Vinegrove, Siget, Egertzeg, Bugadest, Brno, Lodz, Lublin,
Thank you, Michael. And thank you, everyone who shared names. Casey.
We remember, despite our enemies' eagerness to strip us of our Judaism and of our humanity, we continued to educate our children, to celebrate our holidays, to love and help each other. Although prayer was forbidden, we prayed in secret communities and within the secret places in our hearts. Our faith was the one thing they could not take from us. Rivko Wagner, Holocaust survivor, Poland. Hidden between the bunks, we whispered the familiar words of the Friday evening prayers and found tranquility. I discovered for the first time in my life the real power and value of prayer and faith in God. I could feel my words shattering the iron gates and the high-powered fences, going past the hundreds of guards, dugouts, and watchtowers, out into the open, reaching toward heaven. Here, I knew, was a way of escape, a source of strength and a means of survival of which no power on earth could, if you could move down, sorry.
Could deprive me.
Thank you, Deborah.
Continue, please, Casey.
If you could move the screen back up.
I don't think I have that power, but it starts in the ghetto, a young boy defied the darkness.
Okay. From tomorrow on, I shall be sad. From tomorrow on, today I will be happy. What's the use of sadness? Tell me that, because the evil winds begin to blow. Why should I grieve for tomorrow, today? No, today I will be glad, and every day, no matter how bitter it be, I will say, From tomorrow on, I shall be sad, not today. Matal, a child in the ghetto.
Thank you, Casey. Many have tried to destroy us. Pharaoh, Amalek, Haman, Caesar, the Inquisition, the Nazis. None have succeeded. In the Torah, we are commanded, choose life so that you and your children shall live. Read with me. As long as that secret power is concealed within us, we shall not yield to despair. Chaim Kaplan, Holocaust victim, Poland. As we fight physical, mental, and spiritual battles, we cry out the generations-old refrain, L'chaim, to life. We continue to live our Judaism and not let the evil destroy our faith in God and in humanity. These fruits with their unbreakable inner core. I have dates, whatever you have, pick them up if you have something that has an unbreakable core. These fruits represent our inner strength. They are a tangible token of the power to resist. We eat these fruits so that we may gain courage from our ancestors to find our own strength in difficult times. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri ha'etz. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who creates the fruit of the tree. Rabbi Dennis.
Ezra, help. How can we stay hopeful when people are capable of such great evil? A few good people recognized the evil for what it was. They risked their lives to help us. They hid friends, neighbors, and strangers from the eyes of those who would harm us. In almost every survivor's story, there is a story of someone who helped. So we remember. Helpers lived in every country in Europe. They came from every walk of life. Some saved hundreds, some saved one. They saved as many as they could, regretting only that they didn't save more. Having been their nanny for 13 years, 26-year-old Ezrabat Fajo swore she would protect the Aboni family. As the bombs fell in Budapest and the fascist militia searched the street for Jews, Elizabeth risked her life every day to find a safe place for each family member to hide. She saved us day by day. Susanna Aboni Osvat, Holocaust survivor, Hungary. With her partners at the secret organization Zagrota, Irina Sendler smuggled thousands of Jewish children out of the Warsaw Ghetto. She hid them in ambulances, snuck them through the underground passageways, and wheeled them out concealed in boxes and suitcases. She kept track of the children on papers buried in glass bottles, hoping someday to reunite them with their families. Every child saved with my help is the justification of my existence on earth, and not a title of glory. Irena Sendler, Holocaust rescuer, Poland.
We honor the helpers so that we may gain wisdom from them. We must always strive for the courage to help those in need. Since we are not together, we cannot rise and grasp each other's hands, but reach for me anyway. Reach through your screen and read with me. We reach hand to wrist as if pulling each other to safety. Each person's decision to help was difficult. The risks were many. Would we have made such a decision? We cannot know. We cannot judge. In gratitude and hope, we honor the helpers. We draw inspiration from them and vow never to be indifferent to the plight of others. Strength comes to those who pursue justice. Deb.
We remember. Liberation eventually came. As the armies of the world moved toward vanquishing evil, they discovered a hell that left them stunned. It will be a time of trouble as has never been before. At that time, your people will be rescued. Daniel, read with me, please. We must remember the affliction of our people so that no people shall ever suffer such a fate again. We are commanded to provide comfort wherever there is suffering, for you know the heart of the stranger, since you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Exodus. Never again. Please read with me. How do we ensure that no one ever suffers such a fate again? We resolve to strengthening the world through our commitment to justice. We say, Leom La'od, never again. Never again shall we ignore the gathering shadows of hate. Leolam La'od. Never again shall we stand silent as the preaching of malice. Leolam La'od. Never again shall we excuse those who hate. Leolam La'od. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who girds Israel with strength. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, ozer Yisrael b'gvura.
Never again shall we stand and watch while people are mistreated. Leolam lo od. Never again shall we allow groups of people to be separated and made unequal. Leolam lo od. Never again shall we watch a community plant the seeds of hate and do nothing. Leolam lo od. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who frees the captive. Baruch atah Adonai, melech haolam, Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Never again shall we think we are helpless to stop the coming of evil.
Please continue.
Leolam lo od. Never again shall we forget our own strength. Leolam lo od. Never again shall we allow hatred to go unanswered. Leolam lo od. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who commands us to pursue justice. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lirdof tzedek.
Mehek?
A question stands stark before us. How do we move forward when we have lost so much? We walk with a hole in our hearts and weight in our footsteps, but we walk forward. We are reduced, but we refuse to remain broken. We remember, while the world counted their dead, we counted our living. Those who lived gave us strength to love again. In a displaced persons camp near Munich, Frania Bratt married Boris Blum 5 months after liberation. Their hand-printed wedding invitations listed both their hometowns and the death camps they had survived. Their daughter Toa was one of the many babies born in the camp that year. We did not know what would come next. We only knew we could not go back to the life we once lived. We brought our children and our hope out of hiding.
So if you have a child's drawing that you put under your chair or hid somewhere, bring it out now. Barbara.
The hope. Let us once again restore the hope and openly and joy openly to our lives. Let us now return that drawing, a symbol of our hope for our children, to the table. We remember, as we emerged from the rubble of our lives, we were united by an ancient hope. Hatikva. The expression of that hope is a song that has bolstered us in times of joy and in times of sorrow. It was the clarion call when we dreamed of a better life, a life of freedom, a land of our own, even while trapped in slavery. You'll stand now and join me. As long as the Jewish spirit is yearning deep in the heart, the eyes turn toward the east, looking toward Zion, then our hope, the 2,000-year-old hope, will not be lost to a free people in our land, the land of Zion and Jerusalem. Please join me. Kolod baleva anima nefesh Yehudi homia ufate mizra kadima ein letzion Sophia, Olo Avda Tikvatenu, Tikva Bat Shnat Alpayim, Liov Tam Chovshi, Be'artzenu, Eretz Zion, Birushalayim, Liot Bam Chopshi, Be'artzenu, Eretz Zion, Birushalayim. Life. Celebrating our survival with hope in our hearts. We step out of the darkness and into the light of a renewed life. Please read with me. As we were all at Sinai, so we are all the children of survivors. As it is written in the Torah, and you shall tell your child on that day, it is because of what Adonai did for me when I went free from Egypt. The Exodus 13:8.
Thank you, Barbara. We say Shekianu to give thanks that we have made it to this time and place. We say it here because although much was lost, we survived, and that survival is worthy of celebration. We drink a cup of wine to celebrate our rebirth. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'eheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who has supported us, protected us, and brought us to this moment. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who creates the fruit of the vine. L'chaim, to life. Our joy in our survival is tempered by the tears for those we lost. They left no footprints, no fingerprints. All we have is memory. Read with me. In this moment, we acknowledge that they lived. As long as we remember them, they are with us. They are gone. They cannot tell their stories any longer, but we can. We can hold open this window, this fragile window. We can give their stories wings. Let us give their stories a voice so they can fly into others' ears, into others' hearts. Only we can tell their stories now. Only we. The survivors entreat us. I ask you not to forget the dead. I ask you to build a memorial in our names, a monument reaching up to the heavens that the entire world might see. Not a monument of marble or stone, but one of good deeds. I believe with full and perfect faith that only such a monument can promise a better future. Only thus can we be sure that the evil that overturned the world and turned our lives into hell will never return. Donya Rosen, Holocaust survivor, Ukraine. Let us remember them as they lived. As we contemplate their pictures, we mourn the stories cut short, the hopes and dreams lost. We speak their names so that they will not be forgotten. Some people in these photos are not named, reminding us that although some stories are lost, we still acknowledge the people who lived them. For these, we simply say, unknown. If you have names of additional people you know who died in the Shoah, please put them in the chat, and after we have read both sets of names, Michael will read some of those. Florika Liebman, Bella Rodiansky, Boris Tsaitin, Maria Tsaitin, unknown, Hannah Yoskowitz, Zunia Yoskowitz, Gabor Newman, Joseph Brudo, Zvi Siegel.
Henrik Swart, Aaron Goldman Bodner, Mara Kolbik, Marguerite Jacobi, Henrik Jacobi, Ali Weiss, Helga Hahn, Arthur Rubin, Trude Rubin, William Wolf Z. Cohen.
And to that I add Max Waldstein, Michael Shapiro, Yankita Ashkenazi and Ruchel Ashkenazi, Anna Weiss, Simon Seagal and Rosa Seagal, and Yitzhak Rudashensky.
Let us pause for a moment of silent reflection.
Sherry, would you lead us in lighting the yahrzeit candle and in the Kaddish?
Yes. We did not die alone. We say Kaddish not only for our own dead, but also for the many who were targeted. Those with disabilities and resistors, Romani people who were gay, all murdered in the great silencing of diversity, speech, and opposition. We feel their loss too, as we gather and mourn our own immeasurable losses. This candle will be with us now for the next 24 hours as we remember them. If you have a candle, please light it now. And let's say the prayer together that affirms life and affirms memory for the Jewish people of all time. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah v'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael v'agala u'v'zman kariv v'yamru Amen. Yehei shmei rabbah v'varach le'olam ulmei omaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha brichu le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata v'amiran b'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei Shlomo Rabba min Shemaya, v'chaim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. May God, who brings peace around the world to all peoples in the world, bring peace to us on this sad moment of commemoration, to us and to all who mourn with us. And let's say amen.
Community. We remember in the starving times we dreamed of cooking in the kitchens of home. In the aftermath, when we contemplated all that had been lost, it was the recipes of those lost kitchens that comforted us. We reached out and touched nothing, so we turned inward instead. Our memories kept us moving forward, our memories of home and of bread. We cannot return home, it's rubble. We cannot hold family, they're gone. But today we have dumplings, and tomorrow we will live on. Violet Neffhelms. From the abundance of our brightest lives to sharing of scraps in the darkest times, communities rise with the sharing of bread. Our ancestors understood this. Let all who are hungry come and eat. Let all who are needy come and celebrate with us. Let us take up that call to share our friendship with all who are in need.
As we break bread together, we give thanks for our survival, acknowledging that we are no more deserving than those who did not survive. We celebrate the Jewish community that continues to thrive and the community we have created between us here today. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth.
Hitorut, awakening. Awaken, awaken, put on your strength, O Zion, Isaiah. We awaken to a world where human beings have done unfathomable evil to each other, to us. What do we do now? We weep and ask, how do we go on living after such a loss? We are commanded to choose life. We remember that our ancestors held on to love and life and hope, even in the harshest times. We know that the thread of Jewish life is strong. As the survivors say, grandchildren are the best revenge. Overwhelmed by the enormity of the story, still we whisper, I do not want to hear anymore. We draw inward to comfort one another, and yet we know ignoring evil only allows it to grow. Despite our unease, we choose not to be blind. We choose awareness because we recognize that evil does not need our help, just our indifference. Adapted from Hans Lohenbach, Holocaust refugee from Germany to America. And we cry out in anger, how could this happen? Where was the world? We remember not only the evil of those who hurt us, but the goodness of those few who helped us. We resolve to turn our anger into a passionate drive to tikkun olam, to repair the world. And awakened, we inquire, how does hatred grow? Can we stop it? Hatred grows when we ignore it, when we allow hateful behavior to go unchallenged. We will not let evil hide in the shadows. We resolve to shine a spotlight on hate and make it clear that such behavior is not acceptable. We will be vocal torchbearers of love.
Okay.
Please read responsibly with me. I pray for courage and for strength when I remember the evils in the past, the innocent people tortured and murdered. I am almost afraid to make myself remember, but I am even more afraid to forget. I ask for wisdom that I might mourn and not be consumed by hatred, that I might remember and yet not lose hope. I must face evil, and doing so, reaffirm my faith in future good. I cannot erase yesterday's pains, but I can vow that they will not have suffered in vain. And so I pray. For those who were given death, I choose life. For me and for generations yet to come. For those who found the courage to stand against evil, often at the cost of their lives, I vow to carry on and have carried on their struggle. I must teach myself and others to learn from hatred that people must love, to learn from evil, to live for good.
Violet?
Please unmute yourself first.
Yes, thank you. We recognize that despite our best efforts, there is still evil in the world. People are still persecuted for who they are. Anger and hatred continue to seep into our communities. Nonetheless, we proclaim that there is hope. We can make a difference. We can help. Without justice, there can be no peace. He who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps to perpetrate it. Martin Luther King Jr. To stem the flow of hatred, we must work for justice. For the work of justice shall be peace. Isaiah.
Across this world, we are many different people. We speak many different languages. Peace is a gift we can give in every language. And here are some examples. Salam, Shalom, Mir, Friede, Frieden, Sandipap, Pai, Shante, Haiwa, Irini, Yongwa, Asiti, Miro, Pache, Samaya, Bizanizi. Peace.
We cannot change our past, but we can build our future. Do not be daunted by the enormity of the world's grief. Do justly now. Love chesed now. Walk humbly now. You are not obliged to complete the work, but neither are you free to abandon it. Rami Shapiro. We must remember that peace and justice are not gifts from God. They are our gifts to each other. Adapted from Eli Wiesel, Holocaust survivor, Hungary. We pledge ourselves to work for peace and justice throughout the world. Recite with me. Justice, justice we shall pursue. Zedek, Zedek Nirdof.
Zedek, Zedek Nirdof. A day will come when the softest sound will be enough, when one lingering note, a delicate dance between two hands, a leaf spinning in the breeze, when one ringing bell, when one whispered poem will be enough to awaken each person from that which is concealed, to bless this holy human with the wisdom that bursts from the sacred well of justice, from the sweet, hearty, bubbling, subterranean spring that nourishes the tree of life. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you to our readers, Rabbi Sherry Kohler-Fox, Gay Griffith, Deborah Kaufman, Mehek Berza, Casey Flankbaum, Rabbi Jeffrey Dennis, Barbara Birnbaum, Jennifer Zunikov, and of course, Violet Neff Helms, and to our technical support, Michael Frick. And thank you all for joining us. And I hope you will stay in touch with us. There is my contact information. This has been recorded and will be put up on our YouTube channel shortly. So if you know other people who were not able to attend who want to see it, look for that in the next couple of days. Thank you very much to everybody.